Donald Trump is trapped. Donald Trump is compromised by Ghislaine Maxwell. Trump walked right into the trap. Now people are asking, hey, Donald, you know, your number 2 at the DOJ, Todd Blanch, your former criminal defense attorney, he did 2 days of interviews with Ghislaine Maxwell for 10 hours. You granted her immunity. Is there tape? Is there a transcript? And Donald Trump's response is, well, I don't want to release it, or I'd be fine to release it, but we've got to protect the people who are mentioned there. So I'm not really sure about that. What do you mean? Yourself? And Donald Trump is asked in this interview as well with the right-wing media company. So are you going to release the Epstein files? And Donald Trump goes, well, there's just a lot of people who we need to protect. Okay, we need to protect the victims, Donald. The victims want this released. So you're talking about yourself. You want to protect yourself based on your dark past with Jeffrey Epstein. And now Ghislaine Maxwell is launching this PR campaign, either wittingly or unwittingly, with Donald Trump on right-wing media, where they're saying on right-wing media shows like Greg Kelly, we think she may be innocent. Epstein may be the bad guy, but Ghislaine, the convicted sex trafficker, is supposed to serve a 20-year plus sentence in Tallahassee. The evidence seems to suggest she's innocent. So we're seeing shows like Greg Kelly and other right-wing shows, the same types of people who pushed the big election lies for Donald Trump. They're now gearing up to basically make Ghislaine Maxwell the hero in their story so Donald Trump can pardon her. Now, Donald Trump gave her immunity for anything she said to Donald Trump's number 2 at the DOJ, Todd Blanch. That happened, like 10 days ago when she sat with Blanch for 2 days. Then this week, they moved her from the Tallahassee prison to a minimum security facility in Southeast Texas called Camp Bryan, a prison Camp Bryan, which is a minimum security facility with like no prison guards that house white collar criminals, not sex traffickers. And the Trump regime gave Ghislaine Maxwell a special exemption to go into this minimum security facility because as a sex trafficker, she's not allowed to go there. So as Donald Trump is being trapped by Ghislaine Maxwell, do you see what's happening? Donald Trump has deep sixed the Epstein files. We also learned this week, by the way, that Donald Trump had all of those DOJ and FBI lawyers remove his name from the Epstein files. Donald Trump has this immunity deal with Ghislaine Maxwell. He moves her from prison, from Tallahassee to the idyllic federal prison in Southeast Texas, prison Camp Bryan. And now they're glorifying her to the shock and horror of the victims. Let me read to you what the victims and the victims' families are saying. A lot of the victims died by suicide because of the horrors that they have been through. So let me read for you some of the things that the victims said, because this is who we really should be hearing from right now. So here is a new statement from the family of Virginia Giuffre and several of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's accusers. Now, Virginia Giuffre was the underage girl who started working as a towel girl in Mar-a-Lago, who Donald Trump this past week admitted Jeffrey Epstein stole her from me. He stole my help. She was with me, and then he sex trafficked her. He stole her like she's property. Here's the statement from Annie Farmer, Maria Farmer, Sky and Amanda Roberts, the family of Virginia Giuffre, and Lynette and Danny Wilson, also family members. It is with horror and outrage that we object to the preferential treatment convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell has received. Ghislaine Maxwell is a sexual predator who physically assaulted minor children on multiple occasions, and she should never be shown any leniency. Yet, without any notification to the Maxwell victims, the government overnight has moved Maxwell to a minimum security luxury prison prison in Texas. This is the justice system failing victims right before our eyes. Oh, and by the way, the Trump regime fired the lead prosecutor of Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein, Maureen Comey, and blamed Maureen Comey's father, James Comey, for engaging in an Epstein hoax, which will likely give Ghislaine Maxwell a golden ticket to get a retrial, arguing that the full files have been tampered with and are a hoax. Let me just keep reading the statement for you. Yet without any notification, she went to this luxury prison. This is the American public should be enraged by the preferential treatment being given to a pedophile and a criminally charged child sex offender. The Trump administration should not credit a word Maxwell says, as the government itself sought charges against Maxwell for being a serial liar. This move smacks of a cover-up. The victims deserve better. And the family of Virginia Giuffre also gave this following statement. President Trump has sent a clear message today. Pedophiles deserve preferential treatment and their victims do not matter. It is with horror and outrage that we object to the preferential treatment convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell has received. She is a sexual predator who physically assaulted minor children on multiple occasions, and she should never be shown any leniency. So here is Greg Kelly. You can hear him for yourself right here, one of the Trump propagandists, talking about pardoning her and making Ghislaine Maxwell the hero in this story. This is horrific stuff. Here, play this clip.
That's why I'm not taking anything without skepticism from anybody, especially the media, especially the government, especially the Department of Justice, and I don't care, quite frankly, who it's about, including Ghislaine Maxwell and to a lesser extent, Jeffrey Epstein, all right? I say lesser extent. Jeffrey Epstein pleaded guilty to the sex stuff in 2008, all right? He's a dirtbag monster. Does that mean Ghislaine Maxwell is? I don't think so, folks. That's not the way our society works, not the way it's supposed to work at all. There is so much exculpatory evidence here that nobody understands, that it looks like the government kept from the defense, which is illegal, juror misconduct, you name it. And look at what happened in that court, right? Prosecutor pointing the finger, all right? Just remember this image for a moment, all right? Ghislaine Maxwell's on the left. It's COVID, right? So hardly anybody's there. And the attorney, the government attorney, doesn't have to wear a mask, pointing her finger right there at Maxwell.
And now here is Donald Trump during an interview he did last night when Donald Trump was asked, will people get to hear what Ghislaine said to your former criminal defense attorney, who's now the number 2 at the DOJ, Todd Blanch? And Donald Trump's like, well, we don't want people to get hurt. What do you mean, yourself? Here, play this clip.
Your deputy attorney general sat down with Ghislaine Maxwell for 9 hours. I'm just wondering when the American people get to hear what she said during that interview.
Well, I don't know, because I haven't spoken about it, but he's a very talented guy, Todd Blanch, and a very straight shooter.
Yeah.
And I think he probably wanted to know, just to get a feeling of it, because we'd like to release everything, but we don't want people to get hurt that shouldn't be hurt.
Yeah.
And I would assume that was why he was there. I want to release everything. I just don't want people to get hurt.
And then Donald Trump said the following about the Epstein files. Play this clip.
You can't have people associated. First of all, the files were run by some very bad people and very sick people like Comey and Lisa, the whole group, all those people in that office. They ran those files for 4 years. And if they were going to use the files, they would have used it before my election. Right. Because unless they're stupid, which to a certain extent they are stupid.
You're saying they would have released the information?
Well, they had the files. They control the files. Yes. I didn't control the files. They control the files for 4 years. So if they had something, they would have released it before the election, because they are not geniuses, but they're evil.
Right.
There are a lot of evil people.
Now, take a look at this photo right here. You have Todd Blanch, Emil Bo, and John Sauer. These were Donald Trump's criminal defense lawyers in the cases where Donald Trump was convicted of felonies. They're now the ones in charge of the DOJ. Emil Bo right over there. He's actually 44 years old, the guy on the right. any event, he became a judge on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, one of the most powerful judges in the country right now, who will just do Donald Trump's bidding. Todd Blanch talks about maybe we'll give you additional information about what Ghislaine told us at the appropriate time. They are coddling a sex trafficker. You remember when all these MAGA people were like, if you're a sex trafficker, we're giving you the death penalty. Nah, the GOP stands for Guardians of the Pedophiles. That's what the GOP stands for right now. And by the way, you want to look at the chummy relationship between Todd Blanch and Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer, David Oscar Marcus. Here's the clip where Blanch says, Donald Trump is an enigma. Oh, I thought you never used that word, enigma. Play that clip. That's the word, by the way, on Donald Trump's birthday letter that he sent to Epstein. Here, play this clip.
And he called me and we had a good conversation. I went with my wife to have dinner with him and his wife a few weeks later. And we clicked. You know, he's an enigma. You know, he's an interesting guy. Everybody in this country, most people in the world, frankly, have a opinion about him.
Now, here is David Oscar Marcus as well, talking about what great friends he is with Todd Blanch. Here, play this clip.
But David, in all seriousness to you, I know a lot of people that have worked with you. I know a lot of people who know you very well. I now consider you a friend and someone who I know pretty well. You are by far the best out there.
So that's what we're dealing with right now, folks. We'll keep you posted every single step of the way here, but it's important that we let you know what the victims are saying and not this Ghislaine, Donald Trump, collusive GOP Guardians of Pedos thing. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thank you for watching.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.